Hello and welcome. It's episode 6 of the Sell Smarter, Sell Faster livecast. How's it going, Shay?
It's going. It's a little rainy here today, but you know what? It's just some rain and hopefully the sunshine will be back in a few days. How are you?
Yep. Yeah, I'm doing good. I was just thinking, I can't believe it's already episode 6. I feel like we just launched this thing and we're have all these episodes racking up and we've got a really good one today in store. And as always, please drop in the comments where you're watching from. We always love to hear where people are around the country, the world, wherever you might be. And I'm your host, Dani Buckley, and as always, joined by Shay Smith, our awesome producer. We're excited to be here. And just a quick reminder, Lead G2, this livecast is powered by Lead G2. That's where we are representing. And we are a sales performance agency. We really specialize in helping organizations sell smarter and sell faster using inbound marketing and sales enablement strategies and tactics. That's the name of the game for us, is all about driving sales performance. And this livecast in particular is all about bringing fresh insights, real world examples, trends, and just new ideas to help you sell smarter and sell faster, and really all about sales growth, helping business leaders uncover new ways of thinking and doing things. So that's what we're here for. And I know Shay's going to remind you of how to stay connected with us.
Yeah. So like you said, I can't believe it's episode 6. We just started this. We've had some great conversations with really smart and insightful people. So if this is your first time, if you don't know, you can subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/LeadG2. Make sure you hit subscribe and then hit the bell because you will be notified when we're live, when we update new videos, all that stuff. And you don't want to miss out on any of these great conversations we're having. Also, if you have any questions or comments, or you just want to join the conversation and you're here live, we'd love to hear that. You can comment and we can see those as you comment. So there might be a few seconds delay, but we do get those fed to us. And if you're watching later, feel free to comment later, or you can connect with us at any time on sellsmartersellfaster.com. We've got past episodes there. We've got resources that go along with a lot of the topics we've been talking about. So say you heard, a episode on sales enablement and you want to learn more about sales enablement, we do have some resources like that on different topics. So, and with that, I'm ready to jump right into this today.
Yeah.
We're talking inbound marketing, and this is, I have just seen the power of inbound marketing work. Before I even came to Lead G2, I saw it working. And then with Lead G2, I've seen so many success stories over the 5 years that I've been here with clients and people. So today we're going to have Kevin James. He's from the Meredith Corporation, and I'll be introducing him in a little bit and all that he does. And they're going to be talking, Dani and Kevin are going to be talking about the role of inbound marketing and media sales. So before we dig into that specific topic, I'm going to set up the case for inbound marketing because I just believe in the power of it and I've seen it. Inbound marketing is a business methodology that attracts the attention of prospects and new customers via strategic content creation and experiences that are tailored to their unique needs and buying journey. Inbound marketing is about forming connections, answering questions, and solving problems. And every smart sales organization has initiatives in place for both inbound and outbound. And today we're specifically looking at those inbound initiatives as we move into this conversation. So the inbound marketing, it focuses on creating quality content that pulls people into your business and your brand versus the outbound where you're reaching them and you're getting in front of them. And that way inbound pulls them in. These people are already searching for answers online. I'm going to go through some stats on that in a minute. They're researching your industry. They're checking out your competitors, and they're trying to decide if they really need your service or product. So the goal is to have content that speaks to all of these scenarios in these different stages in the buying journey in order to capture the interest from the prospects who are naturally already online. So by aligning the content you publish, I want to make sure I get this right, with your customers' interests, you naturally attract that inbound traffic, and then you can convert, close, and delight. And that's what the whole, inbound methodology is, from attracting, closing, and then delighting that customer. So I pulled some statistics specific, I say that every week and it's so hard for me to say, specific to inbound marketing and B2B industries. So
before you jump into today, I know you're pulling them up for everyone so they have them visually. I just want to really drive home what you touched on of content is really the name of the game with inbound marketing. It's about being educational, helpful, answering the questions and and objections and the many things that a prospect has before they maybe are ever even talking to a salesperson. That's what's key.
Sure.
They're out there, they're wondering about this stuff, they're researching, and it's about getting in front of them earlier. And so I think that's really the key part is the content piece. So I just wanted to really kind of drive that home.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you'll see that in some of the statistics where that plays a role. So first one, 80% of business decision makers prefer to get information in a series of articles. And that's that content, that we were just talking about. Oh, here we go. 68% of B2B customers prefer to research independently online. So a lot of people, it's at their fingertips, it's on their phones, it's in front of them, that information's out there. And is your content and your information going to come up when they're searching? Only 29% of people want to talk to a salesperson to learn more about a product, while 62% will consult a search engine. And this probably is a statistic very specific at a specific part of the buying journey. Once they really want to learn more, they might be ready to talk to that salesperson, but they're going to consult that search engine definitely early on. All right, 47% of buyers view at least 3 to 5 pieces of content before deciding to speak with a sales rep. So there we go.
And it doesn't mean it's your content, because if you don't have content that they need or are looking for, then it could be your competitors. It's from somewhere else. But
for sure,
people are looking for information. They're wanting to educate themselves in their own time.
Yeah. And in their own time, they might be at a different part of their journey, their buying journey. So is your content speaking to them where they are on their journey? All right, here's another one. Persona-driven content generated by inbound increases the volume of sales qualified leads by 45%. And I think that's the last one I have for today. So let me make sure I've got through all my stats. Yep. So
yeah, and when we say persona driven, what we're really saying is that it's personalized. Like we have a certain type of person in mind, right? It's not like as much of a general target audience, but it's like, okay, we've got this particular, this marketing director in mind, or this business owner in mind that has these specific needs. It's being a little more customized in our approach and in the content that you're creating.
Yes, agreed. And at Lead G2, we have a ton of additional resources, blog posts around inbound marketing. We've got case studies specific to inbound marketing, and we'll touch on one of those in a little bit. But if you want to learn more, you can access all of this at our website from sellsmarter.sellfaster.com. There's a whole inbound marketing tab just with statistics and the methodology and that process and, other things around that. So with that, Dani, I'm going to hand it over to you to dig in a little more.
Yeah, just briefly, we're talking to Kevin about, media in this instance, but everything we're going to be talking about today is really applicable to all kinds of industries, especially in the B2B world. And, the one point I want to make before we bring Kevin in, because I know he's got some great stuff to share, is really knowing why this shift, and in particular in the media space, why this needs to happen, why we need to be creating content, why we need to be able to be found online in a B2B way, not just like station facing, right? But for advertisers to find and access what they need. And it's because of this paradigm shift that we've seen happen over the last 10, 15 years, where the sellers, right, us, we have less power than ever before. You used to have to go to a salesperson to get everything you needed, whether it was ratings, station info, rates, like even just asking about opportunities, events, all of that. The salesperson had all the power, and that has greatly shifted thanks to the internet and many other things. And buyers of all kinds, we expect to be able to get what we need in our own time, like Shay mentioned. And that's what inbound marketing is all about. And so media, in my experience, has been a little later to the game of making sure that, especially on a local market level, that potential advertisers can find that stuff, can access and engage with your local market brand. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and let you jump in and introduce Kevin. Shay, I'm excited to talk to him.
All right. Yeah. So here we go. Let me tell you a little bit about Kevin. Kevin James is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of KPHO and KTVK, and he's also the Revenue Operations for Meredith's local media group. He carries that dual role and resides in Phoenix, where he has led Meredith's duopoly of the KPHO and KTVK as the Senior Vice President and General Manager since October 2018. In October 2020, he assumed the role of the Senior Vice President of Revenue Operations, overseeing the sales and revenue operations for Meredith's local media group, which includes 18 broadcast television stations and 12 markets. Joining Meredith in May 2005, Kevin has held various sales leadership roles in both Phoenix with the KPHO and KTVK and in Las Vegas with KVVU and Fox 5. Before joining Meredith, he worked for Sinclair Broadcast Group as a national sales manager for their duopoly WLFL and WRDC in Raleigh, North Carolina. He currently serves on the board of directors for the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at Arizona State University. He also serves on the board of directors for both the Arizona Broadcasters Association and the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication and Media Studies from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. He's a graduate of the NAB's Education Foundation's Executive Development Program, as well as Leadership Advance, a 10-month leadership training program facilitated by the Leadership Foundation of Greater Las Vegas. Mr. James resides in Scottsdale, Arizona with his wife, Lindsay, and their 3 children. And I'm going to go ahead and bring him in as I share a few more. Let me see. Here he is. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Hi. I got to tell you, we got to cut down on that bio. My God.
Information. I mean, it's great.
We got to build you up, but we like it.
Yeah. It gets everyone excited to hear.
I got tired of hearing it, honestly.
I didn't. I enjoyed reading it. Before I hand this over to you and Dani, I do want to share a few things that we've personally seen working with Meredith. As we've worked with y'all through inbound marketing and some other specific efforts. So through the partnership with Lead G2, focusing on strategies to overcome some of the challenges that were identified when we started working with you guys, Meredith Corporation in the first year alone had over 1.6 million in new business revenue generated through inbound marketing. And they had, this is Meredith Corporation, had 778 sales qualified leads in 1 year, and 60% of those leads were, sales qualified. Another note to point out, Meredith, Arizona, one of the local markets, getting a little more granular from those big numbers and focusing on one of these markets, it had over 215,000 in new business revenue in the first 6 months alone, and over 200 new leads. 75% of those were SQLs. So with every reorganization and strategy is different, while it's all different, we wanted to share these to give an idea of how this has been going for Meredith in particular, and to give you all an idea of what it can look like as it does for many. So Dani and Kevin, I'm going to hand this off to y'all to talk about how inbound marketing has impacted Meredith's business model. So have a great conversation. I'll see you guys in a few.
Well, Shay, and one thing I would add is the numbers you gave happened in probably the most challenging sales cycle we could have imagined, with the pandemic, everything that was going on with that and how it disrupted our business and our advertisers' business across any market. And then also in a lot of our markets too, we were in the midst of a very heavy political season. We had a number of swing states in our portfolio. So it was a very tough selling environment. So to be able to have those kind of results during, facing all those headwinds was even more impressive in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's very impressive. And I'm excited to hear y'all talk about that some more. So have a great conversation. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, Kevin, because I mean, not only was it an incredibly challenging year, but we also were still launching some of the markets, right? So that was just really early. And I know we're going to touch on that more. So to kind of kick us off, tell us a little bit about, pre this inbound marketing initiative, what did selling look like? Before you kind of launched these local market sites, what were some of maybe the problems or opportunities that you were facing?
Well, it was just getting harder and harder. You had mentioned that we have less power these days. And part of that is you have far more competition. 25 years ago, you may have been competing against 3 to 4 different, no matter how you want to call it, opponents. Now there are endless numbers of competitors out there vying for marketing dollars. So how do you differentiate yourself? And also, having the time to prospect, to understand what a good prospect is, was a challenge. In every business, these days, it's very rare where you get to staff up. You're having to do more with less every day. And so that affects sales as well. And so how do we maximize time? How do we help our sellers out as they try to identify businesses that we can help? And then finally, you got a lot of businesses out there that are looking for help. Unless you come from a marketing background, even if you do, you're going to have a lot of questions, and you're going to be hit with any number of potential partners all week, all month, all year, trying to get your time. And you've got a lot of business owners and decision makers out there that were looking for help. And unless they were lucky enough to get a good salesperson at a good provider, they probably would walk away a little less than satisfied with, their advertising, marketing, and their media partners.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes total sense. And so that kind of leads into the next question. Why, as a company, did leadership feel that the right strategy was to grow your local B2B online presence? Why did that feel like a smart direction for you all to move in?
Well, there's first of all, everything I just pointed out with your first question played into it. There was one other thing in our business specifically that was becoming apparent to us. And that is, and if you know media, you see where it's going, and so many providers are providing their content around us. Take the networks. We're a CBS affiliate here in Phoenix, but every year CBS is finding different ways to provide the public their content around their local affiliates. Okay, that's fine. Also, costs associated with being a network affiliate go up every year. So when we looked at our revenue models, the traditional model was becoming less profitable, frankly. And we knew that if we were going to stay profitable and relevant, we were going to have to provide solid content. And this goes to folks looking for help with their marketing, or even news viewers. I mean, I could be having the same discussion if we were talking about news, okay? Mm-hmm. But we knew we were going to have to do that. And the way to remain profitable would be to depend less on the traditional large transactional types of business and focus more on the local sponsorship driven, marketing driven, campaign driven types of advertisers and types of opportunities. Now, the problem is those types of opportunities, that business is harder because it takes more time, effort, expertise to manage properly. Mm-hmm. And so, but we were going to go all in on that because the other side of the ledger, the traditional transactional model, was eroding underneath our feet. And if you looked out 5-10 years and that trend continued, we'd be out of business. So it was really a very easy decision because we couldn't keep doing what we were doing.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the key, right? I always love the saying, what's doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That's the definition of crazy, right?
Definition of insanity.
Yeah, insanity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So as we know, and Shay touched on in the opening, blogging and content in particular, mm-hmm. all kinds of content is really a huge part of inbound marketing. And you've touched on that even of being able to provide that, answer questions. So this includes, creating that relevant, helpful content that answers the questions that prospects have, mm-hmm. The local business owner, the local marketing director, whoever it might be. And sometimes it's industry specific and sometimes it's not. So I'm curious, what are some of the different ways that you feel your local market B2B blogs have positively impacted sales? Like how is it being used in of course, generating leads and bringing people in, but what else? What else would you touch on?
Well, I think there's benefits externally and internally. Externally, it is, providing advertisers in any of our markets with valuable information, things that they want. You touched on it, that so many folks want to read blogs, want to read stories. They may not have time for conversation. They may not have time for meetings, but that doesn't mean they don't have time for valuable information. How do we deliver that to them? How do we make sure it's relevant? So that's a big part of it. It's also helped us establish ourselves as, or our websites, our local brand as the place to go for valuable marketing information. It helped us establish our sales team and a brand of their own, to where we were a valued partner I really don't like the word vendor. I love the word partner with our advertisers, because we're not there just to sell something we want to sell. We really are engaged in what they need and growing their business. And then finally, selfishly, I can tell you that it benefited us with our sales team because it creates more engaged sellers. When you go from a model where you're just kind of isolated and going out there and trying to prospect and treading water or whatever, and then you go to this model where there is an element where you're using social media and blogs and LinkedIn and you're reaching out, it creates an engaged sales team. And we've seen that across the board in all of our markets, where our teams know what's going on, know the information out there. Once it gets out there, if it's not going to certain folks, they get it in the right hands. So it's up to engagement across the board as well.
Yeah. And you touched on the thought leadership piece, not only for the local brand, for Meredith in general, but also for the individual sellers. And I love that. And we see it in, I also applaud you and your team and leading the way, because that engagement is so important. It's something that we explain often to the, people that we partner with, the many businesses that we work with, and not everyone, most get it, but it can take a while to really understand that engagement and how this impacts everything. This doesn't live in a silo, right? It doesn't work in a silo. So I love that you touched on that. So as Shay shared a few numbers from early in our partnership together, but it's a lot has happened since then as well. And we've seen some positive ROI, and it's exciting to see. And we're able to look at every market individually and know, where do we need to tweak things? What do we need to do differently? What content do we need? What campaigns? But I am curious. I know people love to hear real world examples. Do you have one or two kind of wins that you could share that you've seen?
Yeah, absolutely. And Phoenix and Vegas have been two of our stronger markets.
Yep.
And one from Phoenix is Tucker Hill Air Conditioning, the local air conditioning company. Obviously, that's an important industry here in Phoenix, considering half the year's over 100 degrees. But this was a company that was looking for help, and they hadn't been a traditional heavy advertiser in our market, but they were looking to expand. They were really trying to get good marketing information in a good direction. They found us. They came through the information, the content we were providing to our team as a lead. From there, we jumped on it, got to know them, understood their needs. To cut to the chase, as far as where we're at with them now, we're from March through today. We've gotten about 140,000 from them during that time period up till now. 100% of their marketing dollars. But the really cool thing is, this is a business that continues to engage with our content. They continue to engage with us through email delivery, blogs. Recently, we've done. They've seen benefit from top 10 advertising questions, which most of them they had. Call to action versus branding, which you think seems very obvious, but to a lot of folks, they don't know. Yeah. And so what I love about this one, and so many of them in Vegas as well, because there was about 4 that I could touch on there, but it's the same story, is that it's not just the ongoing revenue relationship we have, but it's the engagement that the advertisers have, which only works to deepen our relationship with them, our commitment with them. They trust us because we make sure they get relevant information, quality service. And that's with all of the wins we've had. We've had a few that come in, they advertise for a while, and then they drop out. And that happens. Yeah. But we have quite a bit that maintain a relationship with us through all of the content and the resources we provide, which really is how the program is designed to work.
Yes, I love that you mentioned that, because it's such a bigger thing, right? It's not just about getting the new revenue and the new it's about continuing to provide value and being right. That partner, that true partner, and it really adds to that. That's a great example. So, it's nice to talk about the results and the ROI and all that stuff. But I want to talk a little bit about the obstacles and challenges that maybe you faced in this initiative. Both you've had experience working on the local market level in Arizona, but also helping oversee this across all the markets. what have you faced that maybe some challenges, and how have you overcome them?
Well, first off, buy-in. And that's always tough. I mean, salespeople are hard-headed. Let's be honest. I was one. I am too. But you gotta establish buy-in, and it starts at the top. So it was very important for us to make sure that, to some degree, the general managers, but certainly the general sales manager, director of sales in each of our markets were engaged in this program. That the local sales managers were totally bought in, and they were helping the salespeople understand the possibilities with this program and make sure they're using it with, to their full advantage. So that's number one. Some other things that we've had to keep an eye on, making sure the content is relevant. There's some things we've come out with that to us seemed good, to others seem, let's say, basic or not as relevant. And so making sure you're always evaluating the content to keep the information fresh has been important. And then also really analyzing the flow and understanding. We've had some markets that went through patches where their leads may not have been what they thought they should be, or they were valuable or whatever, to understand what's going on there. Now, to get there, you need good communication between Lead G2 and myself, between myself and the teams, between the teams Lead G2 with monthly and biweekly calls, so that we're all understanding any challenges we're having on the streets. I know that if there's markets that aren't kind of holding up their end of the bargain, that I can get in and find out why. It has to be a complete partnership. I believe that's why it's worked for us. I just pulled the numbers as of the end of August, $2.5 million in revenue for us. And that's roughly in a year and a half. And that's across our 11 markets. And keep in mind, some of those markets only launched back in January. So really, they probably weren't up and going full speed till February, March. So some markets have had longer to work with than others, but it's a solid number across the board for all of our markets. But it starts with good communication and buy-in, because if you don't have that, you may as well, you're not even going to get out of the starting block.
So important. And you all have really been like our star, students in doing that and constantly communicating and keeping those lines of communication open across all the different ways that you mentioned. So I want to kind of close us out, because I know that there's leaders at media companies and at different organizations that are listening to this. And just, if anyone who's thinking about or just getting started with an inbound marketing initiative, what is any final advice you would give them that you haven't maybe already touched on?
Yeah, it's very easy. Why wouldn't you do it? Unless you think.
We didn't tell you to say that.
Huh?
We didn't tell you to say that.
No, not at all. But let's be honest. Unless you think you've got it all figured out, I'm not trying to be snarky.
Yeah.
But unless you think you've got it all figured out, if you're in media, unless you think your salespeople are doing everything right, what is the downside? When this opportunity was presented to me, and you can come to a team of sellers or a team of sales managers and say, we have a system in place to enhance the lead you're getting, to grow the lead you're getting, and set you up for better success. Why would you turn it down? That would be my simple advice.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I of course agree. I think it's we've seen it work for all kinds of media companies in all kinds of markets, sizes, everything, for the last 10 years we've been helping. So I really believe in it. And I love when we've got a believer, and we've got an organization like you guys where you really are making this part of your business model, part of your sales process, and running with it, and making it your own and making us better, because what we learned through you all and your great ideas. So thank you for joining today and sharing a little bit about your experience and your tips. I'm sure many have found this valuable, and I know that we'll share again ways to be in contact with you if anyone has questions. But as always, it's a pleasure, Kevin. There it is. Shay's back in the producing as we're talking. There's your email.
Hey, everyone.
And I hate to run. I've got an all-employee call to jump on. It was my pleasure. Good luck to everybody. Kevin. And please reach out if you have any questions.
Thanks, Kevin. See you.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks. All right.
That was
great,
awesome.
Dani. I
could have
know.
gone on for another hour. But
I love hearing, I mean, why would you not do it? And it's, it's like, why would you not do it? And of course we believe that, but just through like the success of, just not just their company, but they have great success, but just other clients and other people I know who have adopted this strategy. Like it really is when you're committed and you do it and you spend time and effort, you can, it's not just like, okay, here it is and set it and forget it. Like it is something that, it develops and grows and evolves and it just produces so much success when it's done that way. So, well, cool.
Totally.
Well, a few reminders before we close today. We do have additional inbound marketing resources at sellsmarter.sellfaster.com. If you'd like to, connect with us there. I'm also going to put up Dani's connect information. She's a wealth of information. Here's her information here. If you'd like to connect with her outside of YouTube, that is her LinkedIn and her Twitter. And my connect information here, I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter too, and love inbound marketing. And also, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. I'm going to tell you one more time because we're trying to grow that audience and get those subscribers. Click that bell, make sure your notifications are turned on so you can join us next week. We've got great episodes lined up. And I think that's all I have for today. Dani, do you have anything else for us?
Nope, that's it. I'm excited for our next episode. We're going to be talking all about, how content actually can really enable a complex sales process. And we're going to talk to one of the more complex industries we've ever worked with. And if it can work for them, it can work for anyone. And so I'm excited to dive into that next week.
That'll be a cool show. Well, thanks, Dani. And we'll have that information up on YouTube soon. It's scheduled up there. So we'll see you next episode. Bye, Dani.
Thanks, Jay. Bye.